All right, hey, Sam back with you here. Our second contender today. This is Link to Bitcoin. A lot of traders interested in this project. It's certainly trading technically. It's relatively new. So if we come over here to CoinGecko, where I like to check, you see it's only been around for 4 months. But it's a comer, 269 million in market cap. I prefer them to be a little bit more mature. So 38. Eventually, good chance we get to 50 here. It looks like there's some interest in the development community. It's you're definitely going in early on a project like this, given just 4 months of history here. If we look at where it's trading, you see the bulk of it here's on Binance against Bitcoin at 48. Almost half of the trading volume is on Binance to Bitcoin. So to have a look at it here. So here's where with the ICO and where it hits Binance, and then the typical pattern. There's the pump and the dump. So eventually we get a low here, and then we start what potentially now could be a fairly decent trend here. So it's it's a little tricky in here. Some of this is tricky for Elliott counting. But clearly we get a nice impulsive 1, and we come down for the 2. So so one line of thinking is, well, why do I even care? I'm over trading here. Why do I care about what's been going on over here? Because as I will often tell you, you want to get a handle on whether it's trading technically or not. Are there signs of algo activity in there? Are these pivots technical? Anything that we can lean on because we don't have a whole lot of history. So, I won't spend too much time here, but just a quick look here. We go, there's the 1 wave, here's the 2, we come down for the 50. Oh, look at this, right to the negative 23.6, right? So there's your first tell that algos are in. It's not the buy at the 50, it's the profit at the negative 23 that tells you that they're likely in. That's an uncommon target for anyone other than an algorithm that is written to take that spread, that move right there from the 50 to the negative 23. This reaction there tells you that likely you've got algos that are in here, because that's typically not where you'd see that kind of activity. But there it is, bang. Okay, so algos are in. That's good news, because we can track them and we know what they're likely to do. So if I've got a 1-2, well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for subdivision into my third, and you can see now this again, we don't need to go through all the detail here, but you get a 1-2. There's the 3. If you measure it, it's always good to do this. Just if nothing else for your own confirmation of what you're seeing. So here's the third. Here's the length of the 1 projected from the 2, so we're longer than that. So then we get the 4. Note the 4 doesn't overlap the 1. Again, I promise you that doesn't happen randomly. So that's, again, good technical trading. There's the 4. Up we go for the 5. Notice the 5 completes right here in the high probability zone for the 3rd. Right? That's interesting. So we get that little confluence here. Right? So 5 is topping, but we also have the pull from back here. So we'd want to check this relative to this as our 1. There's our 2. So we're going to pull these over and see where we land. If I can get it right on there. Oh, look at that. Lo and behold, there's the 1618. So we have this great look. That's as good as the confluence can get. So note what we have happening here. So we have that 1-2, and then we have this 1-2, both overlapping literally on top of each other. Okay, high probability, that's your 3rd. Okay, so good, and look at the reaction. Again, technical trading. The reaction just screams down. Profit is taken, bang. So down it goes. All right, so we know, pretty good indication that we've got a 3rd in there. What are we expecting? Well, from here, okay, take note. All right, what are you concerned about? You don't want to see that overlap, and it doesn't. And then from there, look at this nice subdivision we get here. So then we get 1, 2, up to the 3. Note yet again the perfect wick high here. So the 1 high does not overlap the 4 to the tick, right? So that again, I promise you that doesn't happen randomly. So here's the swing here up to the 1. Well, if I can get it over there. All right, we go right to the 618. Then I don't think I have it right on. There it is. So here's the 618. Right, we know a 2 can go 50 to 786. We go up. We get this. We get the negative 100. Right, an extreme for the algo target. So we get the 1, 2, 3 down for the 4. Perfect prior resistance, offering the support, don't overlap, up we go for the 5. So, technical trading, that's the reason to get through that and say, okay, well, that's technical as hell. So good news. So I've got a completed 5-wave structure. What am I doing now? Well, just like any 5-wave structure, I'm going to pull from the low of it to the high of it, and I'm going to say, what's next? Well, where do we go? Right to the golden zone, right to the golden pocket, right? So yet again, more confirmation that algos are in. And you can see we get nice Elliott wave subdivision here along the way. So we get some sort of leading diagonal into our A wave here. There's a little 3-wave B, and then yet again, look, we get this nice subdivision down into our C wave. 1, A, B, C into the 2, 3, 4, and then some sort of sloppy ending diagonal here to finish it right into the golden zone, right into the pocket. Like, it just can't get any better. Now, the overlap here doesn't matter because we've already completed the 5 waves here. So this one is no longer of concern to us because that was only of concern to this 4. Right? And even then, still could have played because it's a 1-wave where we can allow for a diagonal, but we don't get it. So, boom, into the pocket, algos. Look at the rip out of there. Here's their target. That's their first target. Well, they're not there yet. So this is, well, certainly we got something impulsive here. There's likely this is we got a little 1, 2. I'd have to go down to the 15-minute. But 1, 2, here's the 3, 4, and then we even get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1. So what do we have now? We have a 1, 2 into a 1, 2. But these are pretty nice looking ranges here for these 1s. And why does that matter? Because that implies big targets for the 3rd. So if I pull this down so we can get some perspective on where we could be going. So we have 2/3 that we can project for. So the first one, right, as I've shown you, I actually showed you just in the last video here. So we're going to take the length of 1, we're going to project it from our 2, looking for the high probability zones for our 3rd. So length of 1, projected from the low of 2. Right on the 6.5. Amazing how that happens. So here's the 100%, right? So this would be where we'd be confirming that we have the potential for a 3rd wave of that larger degree, right? So we can't, again, 3 can't be the shortest. Doesn't have to be the longest, just can't be the shortest. So if it gets over 100% of the 1, we've got a contender for a 3rd wave. But where's the big target? So let me get these over here so I'll be able to find them. Where's the big target? That's the juicy one up here, as I've shown you in prior videos. Note the overlap here. So we get the -100 lining up within ticks of the of the 1618. So here's this confluence zone that we get, right? So again, if you don't want to use the alternate price projection, you can just use the algo because that's the extreme target, which is going to be very close. Not always, but will be very close to the 1618. That's what. Look how these line up. So here's the 100. Here's their first target here from this algo, from this pull here. The algorithms that bought here, that's where their first target is. Now, as I was just showing you, if they front run this, take profit, and it rolls over, do we have an Elliott wave pattern? Well, we might, as long as if we're going to get a 4th and a 5th. Excuse me. As long as that 3rd wave. If we get a 4 or 5, as long as the 5th is not longer than the 3rd, you still have a potential. You've still got a 5-wave structure. You still got a clean Elliott wave count. You would not. That's certainly what we're hoping for. If you're trying to get long here, is that we get the big 3rd. We get the 3rd going to its most statistically probable level here, which would be the 1618, 175 box, which lines up quite nicely with the -100. So that's the trade we're after. Now, can we get in there? Well, so here's the 1, 2. So we're anticipating a 1, 2, and there's subdivision in here. So here's 1, 2. So what do we got? So we know this is marked, so we can take this off, some of this off. Let's take all of this off to clean up the chart. Okay, we know this is our target zone up here relative to the largest degree. So if we're going to get there, we're going to have subdivision along the way. So maybe I have to pull that out. It takes, who knows how long it takes. But there's a certain sense of symmetry here that you can anticipate. So we're going to look at that and say, okay, well, all right, fair enough. I got a good swing low here. I'm going to go up to my 1. Where's my 2? Well, that's interesting. So we're right between the 50 and the 618. Is that the low right there? Well, it certainly could be. What's my target? Remember the -100, if you don't want to do the alternate price projection, you can just eyeball this. but because the negative 100 is right here, so if just to show it to you, so we've got the potential here. Here's the 1 projected from, if that's the 2. We're not absolutely certain that that's the 2, but look yet again. Do you see how that works? So here's the 1618175 box yet again, right next to the negative 100. So if you don't want to do the wave relationship, or don't want to deal with that, or for whatever reason, you can always just work off the algo pulls, knowing that you've got those 3 targets. This will be close to the 1272. This will be very close to the 1618. So there's your potential roadmap here. So can we get, if this lines up, can we get into the third of the third? That's the big one. That's the one we want to try and catch. Can we get lined up to be in the third of the third? Well, certainly we're at a reasonable spot here. I mean, we're right where it would anticipate seeing it. If this drops a little lower, I like it even a little better. But it looks to me here like we might have got, potentially you've got a little pivot here that's going in. So given that I've got this nice 3-wave structure here, first thing I'm going to do is put a pitchfork on it and see, well, what does that point towards? What does that show me? Well, interestingly, so if we look here, so where's the first algo target? Right there at the median line. Now, so we have this sense of time that a pitchfork gives you. Are we getting there here? Are we getting there here? How much time is it going to take to get there? Well, that's kind of interesting. Right, so so if I just line that up, I look at the calendar, I go, well, that's February 2nd. Could that play? Could it go that fast? Well, it might. Certainly the structure supports it. That's a reasonable target. Here's the first target. So why would that be significant? Well, if algorithms that are buying it here are going to take profit here, what could that potentially be? So we might look to see something along these lines. So let me lower that degree so it makes a little more sense. So if we go down, I'll go sub-minuet. Okay, so maybe that right here is just the 1 wave on our way to this larger third, because we're going to have to subdivide to get there. Right? If that's the target for the third, maybe that's just our 1 wave here on our road to getting there, so that we would end up with something like this. Remember, waves within waves. So do we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up here? Let me change the color and see if I can get it to make sense for you. We'd go up to minuet here. Okay, do you see how so potentially we get a roadmap? That's all we're after here. This is a potential path. And if we can get on the road up to this as our target here, well, that's an awfully nice looking trade. Can we find a way in there without risking too much money to get on board for that ride? Well, I mean, it's a good looking spot right there. So if I'm in that, so what does it look like? So let's say you bought it right now. All right, well, I'll move this off to the side so we can see it a little better. Okay, we know we got a good target up here. We know if this is going to hold here, I wouldn't want to be too much on the other side of the 65. I might give that a little cushion. I don't want to be too much just to allow for a little stop hunt down there. So if I'm buying it right there, what have I got? Well, there's 7, almost 8 to 1. 8 to 1. Good. That's the first target. Can we get that third here? If I raise that degree, that might make more sense. So let's go up. We'll go to, there we go. All right, you see that? So maybe we can get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the third, knowing that these retracements along the way are going to come. They're likely to come. How about I say it that way? They're likely to come. Those could be potential places to add. So if I put the wave on this, you see potential places where you might be looking to add. So you've got potential profit zones. So if you're a buyer here and we get here and the algos take profit at the negative 23.6, well, that sets up pretty nicely for the second wave. So maybe you're long here, you take partial profit there, maybe you take full profit. I mean, that's a pretty good looking move. What'd you get right there? If you just got the first algo target, 3.8 to 1, nothing wrong with that. That's what you're hoping for. So maybe you take a partial profit there, or maybe you take a full profit there, and you sit and you wait for the 2. What are we looking for in the 2? Just like we looked in this 2. We're looking for anywhere from 50 to the 786. So if I pull here, if this is my 1, and I get a 2, well then here, right? Same thing over and over again. Maybe it goes to the 618, just as we did here. Right? Remember, right in the pocket. So algos like that. Maybe that's the 2 we get. That's the one you love because it has lower risk. So you can be on the other side of the 786, looking for to get into the third of the third of the third. You see that? Third, that's the sweetheart one to get the third of the third of the third. Wow, that's the ride you want to get if you can. So how can you get in? Well, I mean, it starts with buying the 2 of the third of the third. Can we get it here? Well, that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I like that risk reward. 8 to 1. So maybe you don't load the boat there, but maybe you start your buying there on the anticipation that we're going to get a 1, and I'm going to add yet again because now I'm in profit here. If I buy it here and I get a full retracement into the 2 to the 618, I'm still in profit. So maybe I take a partial here, I leave some in, and then I add yet again. Am I going to get a 4? Maybe I take a partial here and then add yet again. Now I've banked, reloaded, new target. That's how, when. Now, I'm not saying it's going to move that direction, but it has the potential to do that. So, and every now and then, it'll do this just precise with unbelievable precision. Not every time. Elliott Wave is not infallible. I get stopped out all the time trying to do this. The key is don't lose too much when you get stopped out. That's the whole game, because you're going to get stopped out a lot. Because you're trying to fine tune this. This is precision trading. You're trying to do this with very small risk. Can I be so precise in my entry that I can get on board here, risk this little amount to try and get all the way up here, and look for places to add along the way? Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. Are you going to get stopped out a lot? Absolutely. Just takes one of these, and they happen more than. It's actually astonishing how often it happens where you catch one of these and it's like you've got the complete roadmap to where the market's going in advance. An unfair advantage, as I like to think of it. I know where it's going. Well, you don't know where it's going, but there's a good chance it could do this, right? So you need to see confirmation along the way. There's a lot of things that have to go right here, but it certainly has the potential. What more can you ask for as a trader? There you go. Okay, guys, I'll wrap it there.